Hi and welcome to part 4 of Discipleship Culture. This is the final video, and today I'll be talking to you about the last phase of the discipleship approach, that is the invite, gather, invest. And so I will be focusing on the invest. Now, the whole goal of this phase is to pour out into your disciples. So at this point, you have invited your disciple or disciples. You have been gathering or you have been spending time with them. You have come to some level of trust, and now you are, or they are ready to receive, to be poured out into at a deeper level. So the question is, how do you invest into your disciples? Since this approach is based on what we see Jesus and his disciples doing, let's go to the Bible and see what Jesus himself is doing with his disciples. And the first scripture I want you to read is Luke 22 verses 32. And Jesus himself speaking, he says, "I have prayed that your faith may not fail." Okay? He says, "I have prayed that your faith may not fail." Let me show you something else from Colossians chapter 1 verses 9. This is the Apostle Paul. He says, "For this reason, since the day we heard about you, we have not stopped praying for you and asking God to fill you with the knowledge of his wisdom and understanding." What am I trying to say here? These are very specific prayers. And I want to remind you that the whole discipleship process is hinged on prayer. Just like when you are doing the invitation, you spend time praying and listening to God, the whole discipleship process is hinged on prayer. So the first thing I want you to do when it comes to investing is that I want you to pray, and to pray earnestly. And I want you to pray specific prayers like we see Jesus here doing. He says, "I have prayed that your faith may not fail." I'm assuming that at this point you have learned much about what is going on in the life of your disciples, and you know what their struggles are. So I call you to pray specific prayers, just like we see Jesus and his disciples doing. The second thing I want you to do when it comes to investing is that I want you to embrace teaching moments. Embrace teaching moments. What do I mean by that? I'll draw you to an example in Matthew 17, verses 14 to 21. This is where we see Jesus coming down from the Mount of Transfiguration. And if you remember, he had only gone up the mountain with 3 of his disciples. The rest of his disciples had remained behind. And when he comes down, there's a man, and he has a child who had been struggling with a possession of a demon. And the man says to Jesus, "I brought my boy to your disciples, but they could not cast it out." And Jesus says, "O ye of little faith, how long shall I be with you?" And he immediately casts out the demon. Anyway, to cut the long story short, later on the disciples ask him, "How come we were not able to cast out the demon?" Now, see what is happening here. Jesus waits for them to actually ask this question. And it is at that moment he now begins to teach them about faith, the importance of faith, and the importance of prayer, and the importance of fasting. So look out for moments like this. Look out for moments where you're being asked questions, and be ready. Be ready to show them the example of Jesus. And finally, Philippians 3:17. The Apostle Paul says, "Follow me as I follow Christ." What am I saying? Just be an example. Don't try too hard. Like I said earlier, let your disciples see how you handle the difficulties of life. Don't hide those things that are happening to you unless you believe that they are going to, discourage your disciples. But I want you to be able to share, especially after you have seen God come through for you. Share those things. Let your disciples see how Christ is such a great part of your life and how he's such a great influence and impact over your life. So be an example. Once again, on behalf of the Crosspoint family, Pastor Jonathan, and the whole leadership, thank you so much for joining me today. Let's go out there and make disciples. Let's go out there and be the light that God has called us to be. God bless you. Bye bye.